Hey, Molly, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you doing, Coach?
Good. I apologize for the delay on that. I'm not sure. It looked like there was a space in there.
Yeah, I think it was. I just hadn't entered in the. It was user error. It was definitely me.
That happens from time to time.
I'm
So, guys,
40 now, Rich. I'm 40. I don't know.
guys,
I
everybody, let's say happy birthday. Yesterday was Molly's birthday, and I can't believe you're 40. There's no way.
yeah.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Thanks, y'all. I appreciate that. What a good-looking group,
Happy
Rich.
21st birthday.
That's
Perfect. I
right.
like you best, Ashley. You're now my favorite.
That's fair.
So, why don't you introduce yourself, Molly? Tell everybody what you do and about your team, and
Yeah.
we'll start off.
Perfect. Happy to do it. Thanks for bringing me in. It's a pleasure to meet y'all. What a wonderful leader you have in Rich. So thank you for bringing me in, Richard. My name is Molly. Like Rich said, I run the Matt and Molly team. We are a mega agent team up here in the beautiful mountains of Asheville, North Carolina. So we service Asheville and the surrounding 7 counties. So if you just think mountains in North Carolina, you can pretty much think of me. I'm also honored to be a bold pivot coach. This is my custom made t-shirt with Coach Richard there, as well as many of the other amazing bold coaches you know. So just honored to be a MAPS coach and run a mega team. That's pretty much my life.
Absolutely. So, how big is your team there? So, let's start off with that.
Great. So we've got 16 people total on the team. There are 9 agents. And then there's Matt and myself as the co-rainmakers. And then we've got 5 support staff, a director of operations, an executive assistant, a buyer coordinator, a listing coordinator, and our partridge in a pear tree is our wonderful Wes, who is a client care coordinator. And basically, he is the cleanup crew on our tasks and database reminders that don't get touched when they're supposed to. So he goes in and does cleanup and makes sure nobody's getting missed.
So, just so you know, guys, Molly's also a bold coach, and that's where we met probably about 3 years ago.
Yes,
Molly,
almost
been about 3 years?
exactly. I can't even believe it's been
Time
3
flies.
years.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
cow.
And here's what I will tell you: if you've ever been through bold with me, and you thought I was high energy, if you thought I was Mr. Positivity, well, you are now looking at Mrs. Positivity and Mrs. High Energy, because she is definitely my counterpart. So, talk to everybody about what does it take in this environment? What are you doing on your team to keep them in the right mindset when it's very easy to fall into this trap? They turn on television. There's very depressing news on. What are you doing to keep the flow of information and energy high for your team?
Woo, that's a great question, Rich. And I know you all have probably heard some great tips. You've got phenomenal leaders. You're doing one of the main things that I suggest right now. You're staying engaged with each other. You are being involved with each other. You're showing your beautiful faces to each other. That's a huge, huge thing. We are human beings, are creatures that need each other. And so staying as engaged as possible. And when you are, really focusing too, because probably one of the biggest challenges, I'm sure y'all are dealing with it, some of you even right this moment, in staying focused when you are being engaged with each other. It's real easy on these Zoom calls, right, to just boop, click off me. I'm going to look at scroll through my email. I'm going to look at my phone. Like, focus is probably one of the most difficult things. And believe it or not, that's probably one of the greatest impactors of your mindset, is doing just that one thing at a time and really focusing and being dedicated to that. So big thing that we do is we stay engaged. I'm sure, how many of you, by show of hands or by a yes, however you all prefer, how many of you have ever had someone say, man, I love your energy, or you have great energy? How many of you, someone's ever said that to you in your whole life? Okay, awesome. So everybody here, right? The good news is you made it yourself. When people say you have such great energy, I say, thank you, I made it myself, right? It's something that we create. It belongs entirely to you. So on those days where you've showed up in such a way that someone says to you, man, I love your energy, that came from inside you. So the good news is, if you did it then, you can do it now. And it takes just some focus, some preparation, and some intentionality, I'm sure, as Rich has talked to you about, to figure out how to get there.
So Molly, it sounds like you've applied a lot of the premises of bold into your life over here. You've adopted that. So because what you focus on expands, and you talked about focus, and we're talking about high energy. So tell everybody exactly what is it? What is a conversation? What are you? I'm assuming your team is making care calls right now.
Of course.
What
Yes.
will one of those calls sound like?
Yeah, great. So typically what we're going to do is we've got a broad spectrum. Everyone on this call's got a broad spectrum of who you're talking to. You're either talking to your buddy Rich, or you're talking to someone that maybe you met at an open house like 8 years ago, right? And that's a huge spectrum on how to deliver a care call. So like James has been teaching us in the shift calls, we've got those 3 C's, and common sense is really the one we're focusing on starting with from the beginning. So one of the greatest scripts that we have learned throughout this entire thing is, I may have talked to you about real estate in the past. Today, I'm just calling to see how you're doing. That way, it gets the white elephant in the room. It gets that off the table. I know we may have chatted real estate in the past. Today, I'm simply calling to check in and see how you're doing. How are you? And that just kind of breaks the ice immediately and gives us an invitation to move forward. The cool thing about that too is it really lets them guide where the conversation's going to go. And then we're just using the myself. I'm amazing. We're just using the Ford technique to kind of just listen, and take the conversation from there. The fun thing though about that is we may have talked about real estate in the past. Today I'm just calling to see how you're doing. Almost, I'm going to go with 90% of the time. What do you think they ask about once they've taken a breath?
Yeah, I'm sure they want to know. So how is real estate doing?
Yeah. Yep. Every time, and that just, and that opens up a dialogue for us to say, wow, that's so sweet. I was calling to check on you, and here you are checking on me. You're so sweet. Well, do you want a market update, or do you want to know how I'm doing? And then we just, again, kind of let them guide it and thank them for thinking of us as well, and then asking them, we want to make sure you're okay. We don't know if this is going to be 30 days, 60 days. So when would you like me to check in? Can I grab you some groceries? Do you need anything? Is there something that you have neighbors that maybe need something? Could I pop out to the grocery store and bring toilet paper for the whole street? Whatever. We're really just offering. And for the most part, people say you are a gem for asking. We don't need anything. And I say, great. Is it okay if I just check in with you then midsummer? Hopefully we'll be celebrating 4th of July and I can call you and see what you're doing to celebrate that holiday. Because if we think about 3 months from now, that's about what we're looking at for a DTD2 check-in anyway.
Yeah. You know what I love what you're doing, what you're describing is you're just making it personal. You're real genuine. You're down because I know you now for 3 years. You've made it real personal. You've brought it down to a level where everybody can appreciate and understand where you're coming from.
Well, let me tell you, Rich, there's nothing more personal than checking in on someone. And when you do that with genuine care and genuine curiosity, you're going to build a relationship, whether you meant to or not. I don't remember who it was. It may have been, I'm not sure who it was. It was one of the MAPS coaches on one of our very first calls. She said that she was a real estate agent during 9/11 and going through that and checking in on her clients and her people and just everyone in general to see how people were doing. She said she formed some of the strongest, most long lasting bonds. It wasn't about buying and selling real estate, it was about caring for each other and just bringing that care. She said those are people that will never, ever break their loyalty to her. And I think that's really powerful. It's not why we do it, it's simply a byproduct of what happens when you bring genuine care to a conversation. So
Sure, and I love that. My guess is because it sounds to me that your team is very high on customer service because of all the love and the pouring that you pour into people. So do you know offhand, I hate to put you on the spot, what amount of your business roughly is coming from your database right now?
you're not putting me on the spot at all, Rich. We track our numbers like a bot. Just so everyone knows, I'm not just a bold coach. Like I am a student of bold, and I continue to be a student of mastering mindset. I've been on this journey now since 2009. I took my very first bold. It was a beta. John Prescott came to the mountains of North Carolina. We just got lucky to get it beta tested there because John's family happens to live up here and he wanted to be close to his family. So Diana said, yeah, go for it. I just got lucky and it set me on this amazing path. So This has been 11 years of solid practice. And the good news is I haven't gotten there yet. There's no finish line in this. So
Would you say the majority of business is database?
yeah, it's 68%. I'm looking at it right here.
Wow.
68%.
Wow.
Yep. And here's a crazy number, Richard. 22% agent to agent referral. So almost 100% of our business comes from relationships.
How big is your database? Ballpark.
I don't need ballpark. I've got my numbers right here. I'm looking on my screen. Let's see here.
I love that she knows her numbers, guys.
Uh, 5,882.
Now we had another guest on yesterday, another mega agent from Orlando. He had much less. He had just about 1,000. How important, Molly, is that? What is that drop dead number that you've got to grow your database to if you want to be and play in the ring with the big boys and girls over there? You want to be a mega, and you're doing over 200 units a year. I know right now you told me on the phone call earlier this morning you already got pending and closed 99 units. You're about to hit 100. Hopefully
Yes.
this afternoon.
Let's go. Golly, thank you for that, Rich. I will put that up in the universe and say thank you. Yes, please.
So
We'll take that one today.
You would advise the agents to get their business, their database in track. What do they need to grow it to so they can expect numbers like yours?
That's a great question. So we all know the actual numbers, right? We've got those kind of standards that Gary's given us in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. For every individual agent, though, on this call, and for y'all, what I would do is simply make an assessment. If you've got 150 right now, fine. If you've got 225 now, fine. If you've got 1,000, whatever it is, know that number right now, and then set a goal. Set a goal around that. How many people will I add? That's a great goal to grow it so that I've got this broad audience that I'm delivering information to. Deeper than that, though, how many within my database, how many of those people would think of me and pick up the phone and call me? Because yes, we call them 4 times a year. Well, right, y'all? We call them 4 times a year, right? We call them 4 times a year, yet would they pick up the phone and call us? If you're looking and you're scrolling through those names and you're going, I don't know if Sherry would, I don't know if Laura would, gosh, you know what? I don't think Andrew would call me. Then maybe your goal, instead of growing, is servicing. Set a growth goal of something that is attainable. 5 a week, that's 1 a day, 1 per work day or something like that. Yet, what if you strengthened 5 relationships a day? How would that impact your business? That's kind of how we look at it a little bit, Rich.
I love that, Molly. I love that. So if you got this big database, now you're servicing it. I'm sure your members on the team are actually getting people they may not remember or how they got in the database. How are they handling those type of phone calls when they see somebody in command? They bring it up and they can't connect the dots where they met.
Yeah. Yeah, great question. That's actually why I love that script we opened up with so much, because we say, yeah, we probably talked about real estate in the past. We probably chatted real estate in the past. Today, I'm just calling to check in and see how you're doing. That really just opens dialogue and sometimes refreshes. If we really don't know, then frankly, Rich, it's transparency. The thing about being human is there's nothing special about being a real estate agent, right? It's simply the career path I've chosen. If I can be my genuine, authentic self and be transparently human, I think people appreciate that about me. And if they don't, well, they probably weren't going to be my favorite client to work with anyway. So a lot of times I might just say something like, hey, Rich, I've really enjoyed chatting with you today. I have a funny question though. I cannot for the life of me place where we met first. Do you remember? Just ask them. It's okay. The only time that's going to be really terrible and the wheels fall off is if they're like, well, I was I baptized your kid. Then you're like, oh, geez. I
was your prom date back in the day, right? That's bad news.
Exactly. I think being yourself is so critical, especially right now.
Well, that's what everybody loves about you, Molly, because you're down to earth. You are who you are. And everybody loves you. It's when we look to be somebody that we're not, when we look to be, we change the facade or we just being imposters or something, people can sniff that out. You just got to be yourself.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is, you've got a big team. You got 16 people. I know that you said you've got 9 licensees. There's you and there's Matt, that's 11. And then there's the 5 admin. So you almost have a 2-to-1 ratio of licensed agents to support.
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk to me about growing your team? And better yet, Ma, I think what everybody wants to hear, what are some of the biggest mistakes you made in growing your team? Because
You
we
got
all,
6 hours?
the most successful people in the world don't get it right the first time.
Truth.
And that's an illusion. People think, oh my God, look at the success this person is exhibiting. That means they failed so many times to get where they are.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the bigger mistakes that you've encountered in growing your team?
Well, I think probably some of the ones that you all have experienced as well in not following the model. I mean, Gary and the team at KWU and all of our friends at KWRI that do this research for us, they do it for a reason. And when they say the wheel is round, it is. And so probably the greatest lessons we've learned, we've found our greatest successes when
Mhm.
we've followed the hiring model, and we've seen our greatest failures when we've followed it not correctly or not at all. So I would definitely say with hiring, that's been probably the number one thing. Our very first hire was our executive assistant, and it took honestly, it was a 6-month hiring process in which we did all the things correct. Back then, it wasn't called career visioning, it was called recruit, select, then we have RST, whatever it was. We have so many letters. Do you know the LOHTFA? You know that one? That's lots of hard to follow acronyms. Boom! That's your joke for Thursday. I love it. So yeah, we did the tryout process and everything. We reassessed. We did the 30, 60, 90. Like we did it, and that was on April 15th. That will be 9 years ago. She's been with us 9 years.
So
So
you got it right on the very first hire with the admin?
we did, because we were so terrified of getting it wrong. We just straight up did what we were told. We believed the wheel was round. Matt and I had no clue what we were doing, so we didn't even want to pretend to get creative. And I think that was our greatest asset at that point in time, is we were so absolutely terrified of doing it wrong, we did it right. And I think fear
And
can
how
be a
long,
really good thing sometimes.
tell
What's that?
everybody, how long did you take again, Molly? Did you say 6 months?
Yeah, 6 months. Yep.
So it's a process.
Including her 90-day trial period and whatnot. And it was great. And then same thing, our second hire, well, no, our second hire was a showing assistant. She was with us until she retired. That was wonderful. Our third hire was another showing assistant who transitioned into buyer's agent. And that is the great and fantastic Samantha Profeta, who has been the #1 buyer's agent in our market now 4 or 5 years in a row, and she's been with us since the beginning. She was a manager of a coffee shop, and consistently sells over 50 houses a year on her own.
So just because we've got a lot of agents on the line that either have teams or are about to start teams. They're in that, 2 to 6 million, or they may be between 5 and 15 million, and they really want to get started on that team. So Molly, what did that conversation look like when you said 6 months, which included the 90-day probationary period?
Mhm.
What did that conversation sound like when you said, we're going to take you on and we're going to have you, work in the role for 30, 60, 90 days. This isn't a permanent hire. You still have to earn the right to work here. What did that sound like?
Well, and frankly, Rich, I appreciate that. We have to earn the right to be someone they want to work with as well. So the conversation is less about, hey, this is your tryouts, as more of, some of you may remember it from Win with Buyers. We're really in the process of interviewing each other to see if this is a good fit. We say the same thing to our buyers and sellers when we're doing a buyer consultation or a listing consultation. This is just a different spin on that exact same concept. We're in the process of making sure that this is going to be the greatest, not only environment for you, we want to make sure this is the right seat, as Gary says, on the bus. We are nothing without our people. If at any point in time my vision limits the vision of the people who work with me, then that's not a good mashup. So we are consistently talking to them within that 30, 60, and 90 days about what they're feeling, how they're doing. Do they believe in the goals? Are they getting the greater vision? Do they appreciate the culture? And they really appreciate that. And to be totally honest, Rich, we've had people off board themselves in that 90 days simply because they realize that maybe the hard work culture is not necessarily what they were anticipating, because being in real estate and being successful in real estate is not what a lot of people think it's going to be. Someone told them all you got to do is blah 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 and you're going to make beaucoup dollars, and they don't realize that there's actual structure, you know, all those things. The same thing that happened to each of us when we got our licenses, right? We're like, woo, all right, I got my real estate license. Bring on the money. I'm just going to sit here and collect checks, right? Some of us had a little bit of a learning curve when we started too. So we just understand that and work with our folks to make certain that we're setting them up for success. And if it's not within our organization, there is no judgment in that. This is totally easy breezy, beautiful. It's all about making sure we've got the right fits.
Absolutely. And what you described as lead generating versus lead receiving, I remember the first day I got my license, I was like, when did the people start lining up, right? We're lead receivers, and we have to be taught to lead generate as opposed to lead receive. And that's a mindset issue, Molly,
It
right?
totally is, right? Right. We talk about that all the time. The next time you find yourself, woe is me, there's no one to call, I don't have any listings. You don't have a lead problem, right? You've got a mindset problem. That's exactly right.
That's right. So
Aren't we the cutest little things
yes,
walking around?
yes, we are.
And we all get there. It happens. The only thing that we can do is figure out how to get out of that mode, because 100%, that's not one of those attitudes that serves you, right?
Sure, that's right. It's not self-serving. So talk to me about how your team lead generates. Do you lead generate together like on Zoom? Do you do group lead, or under normal circumstances, how would that look like, and how have you adapted now?
Yeah, so we are a super tight-knit team, and we lead generate all together in the office. Pre this, don't worry, I'm
Right.
being socially distanced and very responsible. Before this, yes, we all lead generate in the exact same offices. These are, if any of you are looking for a headset to really be able to talk in small quarters without bothering each other, these are called the Jabra Evolves, Jabra Evolve. They're a little,
Put that in the chat page so
yeah,
that everybody has it.
yeah. Let me see.
Everybody put that in there.
My affirmation today is I'm great at technology. So let's see,
That's right.
Jabra Evolve. And there's a couple of versions of them. I'll tell you on this one, get the most expensive ones. They're worth every penny, especially if you're in tight quarters. If you've got a monkey mind that maybe is saying, or people on your team have a monkey mind of, I don't want to talk around people because everyone can hear me. Now these are great. You zone in. Everybody's got their own little pod with their information up in front of them. They've got their mirrors, their vision boards. We've got a great little space, and everybody lead generates together from 9 a.m. until noon every single morning. So this has been a big shift for us, a huge change, because we are so used to being so close together. So what we've done now, Rich, is what we're doing every morning is we have a meeting on Google Hangout, because we always had a huddle before. Our typical morning in the office is 8:30 script practice, 8:45 team huddle, accountability and check-in, and 9 to noon we're on the phones, with the exception of a 5-minute top of the hour. You can check in with your admin, or a break, or grab your coffee, whatever you want to do. And then, so now what we're doing is we're starting off the day with 8:30. We still have script practice. Everybody's got a partner, and we're rotating. We're just having some fun with it, gamifying it, as Gary likes to teach us to do. And then at 8:45, we get on a call similar to this, except we're using Google Hangouts together because we're a Google team. And so we're on Hangouts together. We're going over what we call the lead gen wins. What was your lead gen win from the day before? What's something awesome that happened that we're sharing with each other? General wins as well. If there's any updates on our statewide and county laws and rules, which we had a big one this morning at 9 a.m. today in Buncombe County. What's that?
What did they change today?
Today at 9 a.m. in Buncombe County, they decided that real estate is essential. So we're back. It's been yay, I know. It's been 2 weeks. So everyone's like, yeah, as long as we follow the rules and we're good kids, they'll keep that for us. So that was a big announcement, obviously, this morning. We do any general announcements
Hey,
and then
I don't know that the agents are aware because we need to give gratitude for everything. We teach this in Bold. And I'm not sure all the agents are aware that in certain parts of the country, you're not allowed to sell real estate.
correct. Yeah,
You're in
that's
one of them that was just opened up today for a positive. There are parts of the world, I know in Chicago, California, where real estate is not allowed. You're not allowed to sell at all. Your license is useless at this time.
well,
So
not necessarily useless. However, yeah, it was very we were getting super creative, y'all. You would have been very impressed. The creative, like we could write contracts, we just weren't allowed to show any homes at all. So everything's been done digitally for the last 2 weeks, and that has posed great set of obstacles that we have graciously overcome. I think in the last 2 weeks, our MLS listed over 150 properties and sold just about the same number. So we saw a significant
real
slowdown, yet
estate's
we're
still going
back.
on.
Yeah, yep. We're figuring out ways around it. So
What
then at 9 o'clock, just to finish out that question, Rich, we all get to work. We put our little hands in the middle just like this, and we say 1, 2, 3, and we go team, and then everybody's on it, and we have a game to see who can have the most conversations. We're looking for the most conversations, the most dials, the biggest win. We're just having as much fun with it as possible, and giving people some opportunity to create a framework for their schedule so that their mindset stays positive, because we're all very different people, and when we're not all together, it can be hard for some of us to stay focused. It can be hard for some people to feel like there's a beginning, a middle, and an end of a day. So we're staying very, very focused on the mindset around framework and structuring your day. For those of you, I'll write these in the chat here. I did Keller Williams University has been awesome doing those live streams. If you go to KW Connect, you can look for a class called Your Attitude is Infectious 2. That class, I kind of talk, it's a little interview style with me and Ellen, and we talk back and forth a little bit about mindset, and then mostly about framework around the beginning of your day, starting with gratitude, figuring out a routine. And then just 2 days ago, I did a pivot your perception. You want to look for that one from 4-6. You'll see my silly little face, and that is a 20-minute just me going over some tips for end of day routine and how important it is for our productivity to begin and end the workday. And I know we're real estate agents, right, Rich? Like,
right,
we
right.
work all the time. I get it. So I'm not talking about making it a hard beginning, hard stop. What I am talking about is the framework of lead generate, lead follow up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, scripts, practice, and role play. Creating a
Sounds like
framework
a
for
job
that.
description to me.
Do what?
Sounds like a job description to me.
I don't know. Someone told me. I learned it one time. I don't know. Yeah. So if you would like 2 other resources, easy little fun classes to listen to, pop on to Connect and listen to those, because one of the greatest things I think we've done for our teams, and I'll tell you a secret, Rich, it's really for me too, is
Sharp. It
yep,
keeps you sharp.
yeah, I know that there is very little I can control right now. I can control the beginning, middle, and end of my day. And when
Right.
I bring some creativity to stop the chaos of the beginning, the middle, and the end, and I find my chosen consistency within those, ah, it's
Amazing.
really, it's the magic of consistency that brings so much peace and allows you, because our mindset isn't always 100% awesome during this, right? So this
Absolutely.
gives you the grace and the peace to assess and then change for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Molly, talk to me a little bit about, I'm sure you've implemented some new systems on your team since in the last 30 days since this crisis has hit.
Mhm.
What are some of the new systems you've implemented that you believe will stay
Mhm.
once real estate goes back to quote unquote normal? What are
Yeah.
some of the systems you think that they've been a blessing to us that we've
Great
learned?
question. So first one definitely is the end of day routine. I have always, since Bold taught me, had a beginning of day routine in my gratitude, writing an affirmation, deciding how I'm going to show up in the world that day, making an intention about who and how I'm going to show up, who I'm going to show up for, and how I'm going to show up for them. I had never, ever, ever thought about the importance of an end of day routine. So that's definitely something that we are going to continue to condition ourselves to get better and better at, and then bring that to the regular world, whatever that's going to look like. Wait, we don't
Right,
know.
right.
The other great thing is, boy, oh boy, have we gotten good at editing video, right? Our team, our executive assistant, Heather, has absolutely nailed it when it comes to doing really great videos, not just implementing the 3D virtual tours and things like that, truly going out to properties and using just your regular old iPhone to capture some amazing things, edit it together, and then have a really great deliverable for everyone. Because one of the things we know is our friends from Florida love to buy properties up here in the mountains of North Carolina.
That's
So
right.
what a wonderful tool if we could help our Florida buyers narrow it down from 15 houses that they want to see to 3. Imagine the efficiency of the buyer consultation and then going and identifying the home. So we're going to keep the technology going. And then one last thing, Rich, is as we continue on in this, we're still working through it. We're working through a 135 on setting digital appointments as well. It blows my mind. I teach Win with buyers all over the place, and we've got this thing like, oh, if they won't come into the office, we've got all these great
Right.
things to overcome that. How about, okay, great, I can also do a digital buyer consultation to make certain you've got all the information that you need before we meet at the house at 2. I'm available at 1 or 12:30, which is better for you. It makes you've read this, you've all have probably read this book. It blows my mind, though, The Infinite Game, Mr.
Sure.
Simon Sinek, right? It blows my mind, and he talks about in this book, it shouldn't take some kind of big for us to think infinitely, and I wonder how many extra objections we could have overcome had we simply had a digital buyer consultation in place. And so we're
Systems.
doing that hardcore now.
Yeah. So we've got a question from Laura. She says, what does your end of day routine look like, Molly?
Great question, Laura. And I don't want to bore everyone too much, because you can just go to KW Connect and watch that from yesterday, and it details out everything on there, including 7 tips on how to kind of shut your day down. I will let you know, me personally, the most important thing for me to do is to first say goodbye to my team. So Rich now knows that at a certain time in the day, we are all talking as Bold coaches about what we've achieved during the day to
Right.
help agents say yes to Bold Pivot, which, by the way, everyone on this call, you are obviously learning-based folks. You obviously have a desire to reach a bigger potential despite what's going on in the world around you. So go ahead. The first action item when you get off the call is go to mapscoaching.com, click on the Bold Pivot link, and for goodness sakes, go ahead and get logged in and sign up now, because they're already offering an amazing amount of content on the Bold Pivot private Facebook page that's only open to those who are registered, and the coaches are already available there for advice, for any kind of coaching from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The minute you register for Bold Pivot, you have 50 coaches at your disposal. I'm just saying.
And that's
That's
Monday through Saturday.
Monday through Saturday. Good point, Rich. That's
We're
a great
working on
point.
Saturdays, guys.
So the first, well, okay, so sorry, I digress. I went on a wicked tangent with that one. My bad, Rich. You know me. I get real excited about my pivot. I get excited about my pivot. Okay, so action item number 1, sign up for the pivot. So at the end of the day at 5 o'clock, I am on the phone video call saying hello to my Bold people. At the exact same time, I'm ending my day with my team. We're doing the same thing. I've got them on a screen. They are talking about their wins for the day and anything just to kind of close out the day. That's number 1. The second thing that I've got to do every single day that I'm committed to is resetting my space. I've got to reset my digital and physical workspace. So what I'm doing is I've got my Bold planner. I make sure it's open. I check off what I've done for the day. I look at my schedule. I assess what I did well. I am opening it up for the next day, putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you think I'm going to write the first thing when I sit down? What are the 5 things I'm going to write? Anybody know?
What do you think, guys?
I see someone mouthing it. Yes, gratitude. Exactly.
Gratitude.
You got it. So I'm going to write my 5 things I'm grateful for. I'm setting up my space. I'm resetting my physical space so that I'm set up for success and so that I'm set up for production first thing in the morning. I'm also doing that with my digital space. I'm closing down all of the tabs that I've opened that I don't need anymore. We're still working within eEdge as we transition to Command. So I'm opening my eEdge. I'm assessing how many reminders I've got for the next day. I'm making a mental note of that. And again, just setting myself up, getting my mental, digital, and physical space closed out for this day and prepared for the next day. Those are the 2 biggest things that I do. And then I give 7 tips on that live stream. So I would love for y'all to go on and watch it. It's called, again, Pivot Your Perception. I think I put it in there. Just pop on there. I have a little peek. See, you will see I'm wearing the same shirt. Don't worry, y'all. I did take it off between then and now. I promise. Yeah, end of day routine, though, is critical.
Yeah. So the funny thing is the person that asked that just took a $5.5 million listing yesterday.
Yeah, boom, let's go. Oh man.
And and she retired December 31st of last year, and then she got sucked back in.
Because there's so much opportunity right now, right? Get
right.
it,
That's
man.
so
Florida.
Part-time though, part-time.
What, Laura?
I'm trying to do this only part-time. I'm trying to be tired.
You're doing a pretty darn good job at it.
I retired when I moved up here. Then I met you guys.
That's right.
Thanks, Jim Han.
So as bold coaches, we learn all the time too. In order for us to experience a physical victory in life, we first have to experience a mental victory. We've got to have the mental victory first, and the physical one comes right after. So I love that you addressed that. So guys, this is your opportunity. Molly's here to answer any and all questions that you have. One thing I'd like to do, I love that you brought up Bold Pivot. So Debbie, yes, Bold Pivot is available to everybody. It's $99. If you didn't hear that from the team meetings or from me, we apologize. Bold Pivot is available to everybody, $99. It is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. We've had Bold now since 2009 for 11 years running. It's been $7.99.
It was $8.99 when I took it the first time, Rich. Just saying.
Just saying.
Yeah.
And now it's $99. So don't expect this to continue, in June, July. We don't know what that's going to hold. If you really want to take advantage, you need to go on. I'll post the link again on the chat box in a little while, in a couple minutes. And this way you can actually just go on and register for $99. The Bold Pivot today it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's 2 days a week. It's from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Those are instructional coaching. And then on Wednesdays and Fridays, you will have a different set of coaches that will handle the coaches corner. And then the rest of the coaches will be manning the Bold Pivot Facebook page from 8 in the morning till 8 at night, Monday through Saturday. You'll have 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And like I said earlier, what's that, Sherry?
I said Molly already posted it in the chat, so you have the link there.
You just copy and paste. It's real easy. I really can't, honestly, I know I'm thrilled to be on here and be chatting with y'all and advice. There are 16 people on my team, and 16 of them will be participating in this pivot, because there is nothing more important during times of chaos and uncertainty than having consistency and a framework around what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it. And for the entire month of May, you're going to have that framework. And I cannot stress that anymore, how impactful this is going to be. This is not a sales pitch. This is like, I'm crying out to help you. I love you. Do not ever mistake my passion for helping you with sales. So really do get that action out. I know that there's a lot of uncertainty with money right now. This $99 is an investment in getting through this. So make that investment.
Rich and Molly, I have a question. I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. If we register for Bold Pivot today, we have access to the Bold Pivot Facebook group today, and those coaches are available to help us today, correct?
Just as quickly as they get your registration in, they are putting you into the Facebook page, and you are Boom, dead on, Jim. Those coaches are your coaches right now.
Love it. Thank you very much.
Right now, we're working shifts on that page, answering questions, helping, doing everything we can to get all the agents in not just Keller Williams, Jim, in the country, whether they're guests or whatever, because guests are allowed, and we want to help everybody. It's not just limited to Keller Williams.
That's awesome.
I found out this morning, Rich, that one of the people who does some measuring for us in Transylvania County out in Brevard, he runs a measuring business, and he signed up for Bold Pivot. He's thrilled. He's like, oh, I've always wanted to take this thing.
Yeah, vendors, guests, it's available to everybody.
Yeah,
So
very
what questions do you have for Molly, guys? This is your opportunity.
Mary Ann raised her hand. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So what was the one thing you wish you had done sooner, like that you'd started first?
Great
question, Mary Ann. Absolutely. I'll give you two things because they're kind of equal in my book. Number one was to build the framework of that digital buyer and listing consultation, and not just build the framework, really, really solidify how to do it and make sure that everybody on my team got it and isn't anxious about it. We're now 3 weeks later working into that, yet I would have gotten consistency and a model down first. I would have trained everyone immediately on that, because what I found, a little blind spot, some people don't like to be on video. Who knew? So that's huge. And then the other thing, Marianne, is I would have loved them a little harder, because we kind of let the first 3 weeks with contacts, Gary said, double down now. And we heard that, and then we were like, oh yes, it's just so tough right now and conversations are long. And I let all the yeah buts and all my love and my big soft heart, and that ended up hurting them. My big soft heart is going to end up having hurt them in their production and their activities. So would have loved a little bit harder on getting to, 20 contacts a day is their standard on our team and has always been. And so I think I would have spelled it out a little bit sooner to hit 25 the first week, knowing that we're going to get to 30 the second week with a minimum standard of 35 a day, week 3.
Gotcha. Any other questions, guys?
See the chat box here. What if you already signed up to Bold Pivot? Yes, Santo and Barbara, absolutely. So if you already signed up, you are in the pool of the other 8,000 phenomenal human beings who also had already signed up, and they moved your registration over. I would say if you have not gotten an invite to the Bold Facebook page yet, first check your Facebook. If you don't have one though yet, email bold@kw.com, BOLD@kw.com, and ask them if you're in the queue for the Facebook page.
So I got an email last night, and it has the link right in it to click to join the Facebook page, and then they'll send you the invite and tell you you're in.
Bada bing, bada boom. Thank you for that, Sherry.
Well, just an update. We're over 9,000 registrations.
Oh, yeah.
9,000 people have joined Bold, and we're expecting it to get close to 20,000 by the time we start on May 5th. Guys,
Very
don't
nice.
get left behind. Don't get
Great.
left behind. It's $99.
It's
Right.
exactly right.
My biggest fear, Molly, if somebody says they can't afford $99, then where would they be in 6 months? Will they even be in real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% with you there. So one thing that Gary's always taught us is that not having money is not the actual problem. It's the symptom of something deeper.
That's
Right? Lack of money is a symptom of something deeper going on, and very likely it's going to attach back to your mindset. So if you could change one thing about you that would make a connection between your brain and the actions that you take in a day that could bring you 2 additional closings a year, that's why we do what we do. That's why Rich and I do what we do. It's that. It's not magic. It's real.
It's just about pouring into people.
Yeah.
I want to share something with you, Molly, one of the agents on right now. I want to give kudos to Ruth Squires. So
good. And she's got a question when you're done giving her kudos. So yeah, let's hear the kudos.
So she's came up with this. I love the idea. She texted me the other day. She said she wants to have something called dueling listings, not dueling pianos. So they've got 2 houses, and they're going to just one up each other about their listings, what each one have, and they're going to play a spin off of dueling pianos. So I absolutely love the creativity on that, Ruth. And that's later today. What time is that at?
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. Okay.
Yeah, they did it yesterday. It was awesome.
Love that.
Sounds great.
And
Keep
that's
that
what
up.
it breeds is creativity.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And as long as your creativity, like we learn on that triangle, right? As long as your creativity comes after that foundational piece, then it's great. Which actually, this is a good segue, Rich, into Ruth's question. Can you speak to balancing the opportunity in social media marketing versus the need to connect with our databases? I'm getting stuck on the marketing and not prioritizing the connecting. I get that 100%, Ruth. I totally understand how you feel. I have felt like that over the past 3 weeks as well. Here's what I've found, though. It's really, really interesting what happens when you bring just a little bit of perspective and focus to the follow-up activity. Because as we all know, Gary is teaching us more than ever that we've got to be, well, we've got marketing and then we've got what? Prospecting. So one of them takes priority. Which do you think it is?
Prospecting.
You got it. So prospecting based and then marketing enhanced. So the best way, my advice, Ruth, and this is just me personally, is I want you to think about the marketing efforts that you've put out there. And I want you to think about if that marketing had been personal one-on-one connections, what would it look like and what would the message be? You can connect your marketing messages through prospecting. It's preferable, like Gary says, if you prospect base and then market enhanced. However, if you've already done a bunch of marketing campaigns, now's your opportunity to bring the prospecting piece into it simply by going in and saying, hey, Laura, did you receive my postcard? Hey, Ashley, I put a banner on the milk jugs the other day. Did you happen to see those? It's about going back in and finding the relationship connection. If it went out to a broad group that you're not sure how to follow up on, I'm going to be very bold here. Stop it. This is not the time to be spending money on people that we cannot follow up with. Does that help, Ruth?
Any other questions, guys? I promised Molly between 30 and 40 minutes. It's already about 44 minutes.
I'm going fishing, Rich.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you're going fishing.
Yeah, this will be my first time. My buddies are taking me fishing for my birthday. I've never been fishing. Well, since I was a little kid. What's that?
Are you going on a boat?
Now we're gonna go fly fishing out in the nature.
Oh, okay. Good for you. You're going to love it. You have a blast.
I always have a blast.
Yes, you do. You make the best of any situation. So, guys, with that being said, you'll see this later on my YouTube channel. This was a great opportunity. Molly, thank you so much. And once again, tell everybody where your territory is. We're in North Carolina by Asheville. So when they have anything by the mountains, in the Blue Ridge Mountain area,
yep,
you want to call Matt and Molly, and she will definitely treat your clients with A+ kid gloves and give them a 10+ customer care service.
Yeah, we are more than happy to help you. And if you just aren't sure if we handle the referral, holler at me anyway. If it's not in an area that we service with 100% confidence, I'll connect you with a tushy agent out in that zone of the mountains too. So.
Love that. All right, everybody. Molly, big hugs to you.
I love you so much, my friend. Thank you all. Thank you, Florida. I can't wait to be back on your beaches and sending you love. Thank you for everything, and thanks for having me today.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
You're welcome. Thank y'all.